So if any of you have watched the Christmas video, you'll know that we've just had 4 full days of rain and the condensation in the van was pretty horrific. The worst part of it was behind the built-in cupboards. I'm just filming from the outside here and you can see just how much condensation there is behind that blind. So to try and remove some of the condensation, we thought we'd try plugging in the dehumidifier and pulling back the blinds in the top half of the cupboard. And as you can see, the top half now is pretty clear. But the problem we've got is that this blind here is actually fastened behind the actual cupboards. So what we're going to have to do, in order to remove the bottom half of the blind, we're going to have to take these cupboards out again. Just as well Bernie put some special screws in and didn't rely on the self-tappers, so it shouldn't weaken it at all. It'll be fine when we put it back up. And then I think what we'll do in future, so we don't have to keep taking the cupboards out, is to cut these blinds into each individual cupboard shape. Then we can just push them in and we can take them out and remove them to get rid of the condensation. That's the plan anyway. So due to the really bad condensation we had over the Christmas break, when we stayed in Skipton off-grid and had no heating, we got loads of condensation, as I showed you earlier, behind the window, and the only way we could get it out and dry it out was to take the cupboards out completely and to also remove these blinds. So in order to save us a problem going forward and having to remove the cupboards all the time, what we've decided to do is to cut this single blind into 2 pieces. So I used the cupboards. There was a mark where, just a rough mark, where the pressure of the top shelf had actually made an indentation in the blind. So I've gone exactly halfway in between the top and the bottom of that mark, used a nice long metal edge, scored it with some scissors, and I'm halfway through cutting it through. I did try one that I cut earlier, as in the way of Blue Peter, that's this one. I did actually try that in the van with the cupboard back in to make sure it fitted, and then all I've done is reversed it to get the size for this one by placing it on the top like so, and then marking it. So now I'm just using a pair of super sharp scissors to cut through it, and then I'll put the missing poppers back in to the bottom, and that will go in the bottom part of the cupboard, and those suckers will keep the top half in. All it means is that when we have condensation again, which inevitably we will have, we'll be able to just remove each individual piece of blind without having to take the cupboards out. Right, so these are the blinds that I've cut into 2 separate pieces, and I'm now going to fit it, hopefully, into the top of this cupboard. I think the easiest way would be to push it up behind first, push it back, and then adjust it down. I think I've got that in the right place. Push the suckers. Oh, not quite in this corner. There we go. So now when we get the condensation in here, we'll be able to just pull this blind out without having to take this whole cupboard out. Let's see if the bottom one fits. I think this might be a bit more tricky because I can't really see what I'm doing. I think that's in. Press the suckers. Yay! And if there is a bit of a gap, it won't matter, because by the time we put everything that's in the cupboard in there, it'll cover that up. Obviously we're still going to get the condensation because there is a bit of bare glass, but at least now we know we can take them out and we can sort it out without having to remove the whole unit each time. So we'll give it a go and we'll let you know how it goes on. So now my fingers are nearly blue because it is so cold. This is what we're up against up here, guys. You can't really see it, but it's blowing right into the back of the van and it's freezing. And this is the first dry day that we've had to be able to come out and sort it out since Christmas. So I'm going back inside now to get warm. You'll have to forgive me for looking a bit windswept, but like I say, it's pretty bad out there today. One of the other things that I noticed when we'd taken the cupboards out was that the bare ply at the bottom and at the back of the shelves does look as though it's starting to get a little bit of mould on it. So I think the next time we take them out, when it's a little bit warmer, we might put some yacht varnish or some sort of varnish protection on the back, on the exposed ply, just to prevent any mould really getting a hold. See you next time, The Other Windsors.